In Pyongyang, there is a monument known as the Juche Tower, a massive stone structure commemorating and honoring Kim Il-sung's Juche ideology. At the foundation of the tower, there is an inscription titled, "Let the Juche idea shine forth," which includes the following statement. The foundation of the Juche idea is that man is the master of everything and decides everything. Christians who live by faith in God through Jesus Christ hold a fundamentally opposite belief to the socialist Euchre ideology. The foundation of Christian thought is that God is the master of everything and decides everything. The sovereignty of all things belonging to God is based on God creating the heavens, the earth, and all living beings, including humans. The act of people coming to God to praise and worship Him is established in the relationship between the Creator and the created. In other words, if one does not recognize God as the sovereign, there is no need to worship, praise, or pray to Him. Acknowledging God's sovereignty means confessing and accepting that I am not the master of everything I have, but God is. God is the master of life. If there is anything most precious and valuable that humans possess, it is life. The Bible emphasizes from beginning to end that God is the master of life. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. No religion in the world can clearly solve the issues of human life and death, but only the Bible distinctly offers solutions to these two problems. Thus, when people do not forget that their life is connected to God and live in the fear of God, they can attain peace and satisfaction in their spirit. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by trouble. Human life is akin to time, allotted only to those who have life. Everyone who confesses that God is the master of life naturally acknowledges that all the time they can use belongs to God. When one is aware that their time and their entire being are God's property and uses them according to God's will, that is when they truly feel satisfaction and happiness. What then is the objective evidence that God is the master of my life? Time. The Bible provides the answer as follows. Keep my Sabbaths holy, that they may be a sign between us. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. In the English Bible, the phrase, I am the Lord your God, the word Lord implies master with sovereignty. Keeping the Sabbath holy is the evidence that I am your God and you are my people. This does not mean that only the Sabbath belongs to God in terms of time. Since God is the master of life, the entire week, 7 days, used by humans belongs to God. However, God commanded 6 days you shall labor, meaning they are for work. And on the 7th day, no work should be done, but one is to rest and worship God. Therefore, working diligently for 6 days and then ceasing all human activities to rest and worship God on the 7th day, Saturday, is the objective and living testimony that God is the master of my life. God is the master of materials. Let's imagine a carpenter who uses wood to make a desk and earns $500 from it. Where did the carpenter get the wood? Likely from a lumber store. And where did the lumber store get its wood? Probably from a sawmill. And the sawmill, where did it get the logs to process into planks or lumber? From a log dealer, who would have gotten them from the forest. And who is the original owner of the trees in that forest? The Creator, God. Humans cannot create trees. The original owner of all materials used by humans is the Creator, God. Therefore, the materials that humans possess, earned through life, health, and talents given by God, and by using materials created by God, all belong to God. In today's world, people flaunting and boasting about their wealth as if it's solely theirs resemble a child who hides a packet of biscuits bought with money given by their father, refusing to share with anyone. The Bible states, "To the Lord your God belong the heavens, even the highest heavens, the earth and everything in it." Thus God declares, "The silver is mine and the gold is mine." Every Christian living in this world through faith in Jesus and acknowledging God as the Creator must accept this profound truth. It is not enough to acknowledge it in words. It must be reflected in our lives. What is the sign that I acknowledge the Creator, God, as the owner of all my wealth? It is tithing. This is a system directly commanded by God. "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Just as Christians distinguish and keep the Sabbath every week to not forget and confess that God is the master of my life and time, honestly setting aside a tenth of all income for God is not to say that only 10% of my wealth belongs to God, but it's an external indication and confession of faith that 100% of it is God's property. The joy of stewardship. People who acknowledge that the life and wealth they possess are not their own, but belong to God, and live accordingly are referred to as stewards. A steward is a servant tasked with managing what the master has entrusted to him or her. If the household falls into ruin, it is not the steward who is ruined, but the master. Many people feel anxious and fearful when they perceive a threat to their lives. Receiving a terminal cancer diagnosis feels like the sky is falling. Losing a great fortune or facing significant losses in business can lead to feelings of injustice, distress, and sometimes sleepless nights. In severe cases, it can lead to fainting or even suicide, all because of the sense of loss of what they considered their own. However, those who live with the spirit of a steward and true faith, managing what God has given them, will first and foremost manage their life and property diligently, knowing that God is the master of everything. Even if they were to lose their life or property like Job in the Old Testament, they could confess, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." What a magnificent and joyful life this is. Jesus also taught this when speaking about human needs. "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." The one who grasps this path is wise and happy.